K-141 Kursk, Barents Sea, August 12, 2000. The Russian sub Kursk drops for a torpedo drill and never surfaces. A test weapon detonates in the bow. Seconds later, a larger blast tears through compartments. Most sailors die immediately from the shock and flooding. The sub hits the seafloor, 354 feet down. In compartment 9, 23 survivors seal a hatch in darkness. Lieutenant Dmitry Kolesnikov writes by flashlight. They're alive, waiting. The air turns hot and sour. To make oxygen, they light a chemical candle. It flares, starts a brief fire, and loads the room with carbon monoxide. Smoke hangs, oxygen falls. Rescue ships arrive too late. One by one, men lose consciousness and stop breathing. They do not drown. They asphyxiate, poisoned by CO and starved of air. The last page in Kolesnikov's note ends mid-thought. The Kursk becomes a steel coffin. The soldier the army shot. France, January 31st, 1945. Private Eddie Slovik is 24, terrified and out of options. He deserted the line. The verdict, death by firing squad. Dawn air, frost on the ground, a chair, a post. His arms are tied. A target is pinned over his heart. 12 rifles rise as an officer's sword drops. The volley hits center mass. Bullets punch through chest and lungs. He slumps, breathing ragged, then shallow. Medics wait, counting the seconds. The cause of death is simple and brutal. Multiple gunshot wounds to the torso leading to catastrophic internal bleeding, lung collapse, and rapid loss of blood pressure. Hemorrhagic shock, oxygen runs out. His heart can't push what isn't there. Within minutes, his chest goes still. No battlefield, no enemy shell, just the army's own rifles. Eddie Slovik becomes the last American executed for desertion in wartime. Friendly fire, fallen hero. Afghanistan, April 22, 2004. A rocky canyon, fading light, radio chatter stacking over dust and echo. Two U.S. squads split by terrain drift into each other's sights. Pat Tillman, Ranger, former NFL safety, moves to high ground, waving, shouting friendlies. Muzzle flashes answer anyway. High-velocity rounds crack through the dusk. He's hit, then hit again. Bullets strike head and upper body. The damage is immediate and unsurvivable. Catastrophic brain trauma and massive internal bleeding. His blood pressure crashes. Breathing stops in seconds. Medics scramble, but there's nothing to fix. Vital centers are destroyed. The cause of death is stark and simple. Friendly fire gunshot wounds, with fatal injuries to the head and chest, leading to rapid loss of consciousness and cardiac arrest. The canyon goes quiet. The team pieces it together only after the smoke clears. A hero falls, not to the enemy, but to his own side. The photograph. No one forgot. New Guinea, October 1943. A clearing hacked from jungle. Hands tied, eyes lifted. Sergeant Leonard Siflete kneels as a camera is raised. A Japanese officer steps forward, sword glinting. The shutter clicks, blade drops. One clean arc through the neck. Death is immediate and clinical. Decapitation causes catastrophic blood loss and instant disruption of the brainstem and spinal cord. Consciousness vanishes in a heartbeat. Breathing stops. The heart spasms, then fails as pressure collapses. There is no long struggle, only seconds. The infamous photo freezes that last moment before impact and the silence after. No battlefield shell, no stray bullet. The cause of death is precise and final. When the film is later found, the image becomes proof of what happened in that clearing. The Pad That Became a Firestorm, Baikonur, October 24, 1960. Metal towers, cables humming. Dozens of officers and techs crowd the launch pad. Marshal Mitrofan Netherlands stands close. In one breath, the pad becomes a torch. A flash, then a rolling sheet of flame. Clothing ignites, skin blisters, melts. Men run and leave footprints of burning fuel. Netherlands is thrown back, engulfed. Fire and superheated gas sear his airway. Toxic fumes, nitrogen oxides and carbon monoxide replace oxygen. Some collapse instantly from blast trauma. Others suffocate as lungs swell and fill. Netherlands' injuries are the kind that stop the body quickly. Third-degree burns across most of his body, inhalation burns to throat and lungs, and poisoning by thick, choking smoke. Blood pressure crashes, the heart falters, breathing ceases. The cause of death is direct and brutal. The pad cools to black steel. The silence afterward is classified. He caught the grenade. Ramadi, Iraq. September 29, 2006. Rooftop overwatch. Late afternoon heat shimmering off concrete. A hand grenade skips across the gravel and stops between three Navy SEALs. Michael Mansour doesn't flinch. He turns, shoves a teammate back, and drops onto the grenade, chest first. The blast slams upward. Fragmentation punches through his torso. The pressure wave wrecks his lungs and heart. His teammates survive behind him. Mansour's injuries are instantly unsurvivable. Severe blast trauma. Multiple penetrating fragment wounds to chest and abdomen. Catastrophic internal bleeding and acute blast lung that collapses his ability to breathe. Medics rush in, but there's nothing to reverse. The cause of death is clear and immediate. He dies where he chose to shield his friends. Chaplin among sharks. Philippine Sea, July 30th, 1945. The cruiser Indianapolis vanishes beneath them. Hundreds drift in oil and sun. Lieutenant Thomas M. Conway, Catholic chaplain, refuses a raft. He swims group to group, praying, lifting heads, sharing the last calm words many will hear. Days scorch, nights bite, saltwater burns throats, lips split, men hallucinate. Sharks Sharks circle, flashing gray fins, taking the weakest. Conway keeps moving until his strokes shorten. His voice thins. After 3 nights, his body gives out, core temperature dropping, muscles cramping, heart racing on an empty tank. He slips beneath the surface and does not rise. The cause of death isn't a mystery or a headline bite. Profound exhaustion and hypothermia lead to loss of consciousness, then drowning, worsened by dehydration and salt water swallowed with every wave. When rescue finally arrives, the Chaplin is gone. What remains is the story told by survivors. He spent himself on others until nothing was left. Shell shock on trial. France, October 16, 1916. Dawn breath steams in the cold. Private Harry Farr is walked to a post, sleeves buttoned, boots muddy from the trench. Orders are read. A strip of white is pinned over his chest. His wrists are tied. A medic stands by, silent. 12 rifles level as an officer raises a sword, holds, then drops. The volley lands center mass. Bullets rip through chest and lungs. One clips the great vessels. He sags in the ropes, gasping. Blood pressure collapsing in seconds. There's no battlefield chaos here, just a controlled execution ending a terrified young soldier's war. The cause of death is direct and clinical. Multiple gunshot wounds to the torso, causing catastrophic internal bleeding, lung collapse, and rapid cardiac arrest. Lone survivors. Commander, Kunar Province, June 28, 2005. A 4-man SEAL team is pinned on a steep Afghan ridge. Radios fail. Bullets rake the rocks. Lieutenant Michael P. Murphy, team commander, steps from cover into open sky to get a signal. He's hit, but stays on the phone, calm, giving their grid, requesting help. More rounds snap in. He finishes the call, tries to fight back to his men, staggers, and goes down. The cause of death is stark and clinical. Multiple gunshot wounds to the upper body that tear through vital organs and lungs, causing massive internal bleeding, rapid loss of blood pressure, and respiratory failure. He chose exposure so the call would go through. The transmission did. His life didn't. If you enjoyed this animation, please subscribe for more and support my small channel. Share your ideas for the next video in the comments.